The setting is in my dad's old house that is debatably haunted. It's located in a small one-stoplight town in rural Delaware. It was built in the early 1900s and surely has a long history I'm not totally versed on. My dad moved here to live and run his business after splitting with my mom when I was about 9. Without sounding too stereotypical, this house just had a weird vibe to it. So much so that my dad's girlfriend, who often stayed with him, would get a hotel room when he was out of town or on work travel. She claimed she could hear haunted noises, like footsteps and doors closing. Aside from the paranormal activity, it was factually documented that there were 2 degenerate kids who lived with their parents there in the past. They were known for being troublemakers and often getting arrested. Before I describe the main event of the story, it's worth noting my dad at the time was a full-blown alcoholic and trying to recover. He would tell of agonizing nights trying to quit drinking cold turkey, where he would wake up in delirious sweat, hearing what seemed to be a full-blown party happening in the main room downstairs, with clinking glasses and shouting voices. But when he would open the door, it would all cease. He would also be visited by living and non-living friends of his, who all aimed to help him get better. He would fully become sober and live for another 20 years alcohol-free. One night, I'm staying over at his house. I'm about 9 and sleeping in his bed. He just moved in and I didn't have a room yet. Nothing out of the ordinary this night. I still get goosebumps at this point. We're dead asleep, probably about 2 a.m., and I wake up for no apparent reason and look across the bed on my dad's side. I see a small translucent being, sitting or standing bedside, staring at me. It looked like a small alien-like being, except it was see-through and sort of emanating a greenish light. It looked away from me and got back to what appeared to be working away on a computer of sorts. I couldn't really see it because it was below the mattress line. I didn't know what to think, so I rolled over. I processed what I thought I saw, rationalized that it must have been a dream, rubbed my eyes, and looked over again. It was still there, looking at its computer screen. At this point, I realized I was fully awake and totally unsure of what I was seeing. I closed my eyes and tried to go to sleep as fast as possible. My dad never stirred and was passed out the entire time. There was no noise from this being. I've had the exact same dream twice. It starts with me going about my day doing normal things. In the first dream, I was watching TV with my husband. In the second one, I think we were doing dishes or something like that. Suddenly, I feel myself beginning to vibrate. My whole being is just a vibration, to the point that it feels like I'm going to dissolve. I instantly know that I'm going to be taken. I'm not scared, but I feel sad, because I want to stay. I'm also a bit angry that I don't have any say in this. Still, I keep calm and accept it, and I realize that I have a few seconds to explain to my husband what's happening. I tell him that I'm going to be taken. I will be away for a while, and I'm sorry, but I can't do anything about it. I also say that I will be back, and he shouldn't worry about me. Then the vibrations get more intense, and I feel myself being pulled upward. I see a tunnel for a second. It looks metallic, and then I black out. Then suddenly I feel the vibrations again, intense at first, but decreasing. I open my eyes, and I'm lying on the sofa, in a different room than I was when the dream started. I feel the vibrations for a couple of more seconds with my eyes open. Then they fade away. I guess this is where I rationalize it to me waking up, but it doesn't feel like that. It feels like I've been placed where I am, and it doesn't feel at all like I've taken a nap. Both times I woke up in broad daylight. It feels like I've just been somewhere else. Also, it feels like a long time has passed, not hours, but days. It was 2008 in Newmarket, Ontario, Canada, in mid-fall. I was new to the country and was at a boarding school. I had one Chinese roommate who was very quiet and found out that he could sleep through a storm. One night, I'm the last to go to sleep. I finished up, get to my room, locked the door, windows closed, and my roommate was dead asleep. I'm in my bed facing the wall. I hear 3 knocks. I didn't think much of it, and I turned around in my bed. When I opened my eyes because I couldn't fall asleep, that's when I saw one. It looked like your standard gray alien, but was more pale, had large eyes, but I could make out that it was squinting. It was about 1 meter tall, about 1 meter away from me, and near my roommate's bed. As I looked at it, it turned its head slowly, and we made eye contact. As soon as we made eye contact, my eyes went shut, and I was paralyzed. Not sure if it was out of fear, or if it did something to me, or a combination of both. It felt like 15 seconds or so. My fight or flight kicked in, and I broke free of that paralysis. I quickly sat up in my bed, yelling. I flicked on my bed light and looked around. Nothing around. Door and window were still closed and locked, and my roommate was still asleep. I stayed up for about 20 minutes, checked outside the room and everywhere. Nothing. And our room is high up from the ground. You would need a very tall ladder to get to it from the outside. I went back to bed. I was just getting over it when I heard the 3 knocks again. Because I was now on high alert, it registered to me this time that the 3 knocks were on glass. Our window was glass, to be specific, so I didn't waste time. I shot up, flicked on the light, and rushed over to the window. Nothing. No lights, no craft, no alien. I had no explanation, and I've never had another encounter again. As a teenager, I had a strange series of unexplained interactions with 3 different visitors around the age of 15 or so. All 3 were during some stage of sleep. The first experience was late at night, after I had been asleep for a few hours and seemingly woke up for no reason. I woke up in a slight fog and became very lucid to the presence of someone or something nearby. I remained still and pretended to sleep with my eyes still closed, as I heard the bedroom door quietly open. I could hear the sound of light footsteps on my carpet as this visitor entered my room. This whole time I could feel their presence slowly moving from the door at the left side, foot of the bed, and then make their way around to the right side of the bed where the moonlight was flooding into my room. I feel like I could see the room itself as it was happening, but not the visitor. I felt them stop, and it was as if they were watching me or watching the moon outside the window. I was frozen, as my instincts told me to basically play dead, as if I were being observed by a predatory animal, like a bear or a great white shark, who wouldn't attack me if it didn't feel a reason to. I didn't feel like I was so much frightened as I was frozen and just very confused. Yet somehow I was very aware of the passing of time, which felt like I was nearly suspended in time. I remember speaking to this visitor telepathically in my mind, asking if it could hear me, and if so, to give me a sign. Next thing I know, I woke up, and I forget anything that happened until I remember that my door was locked when I went to bed, and that it was unlocked when I woke up for school that morning. It didn't occur to me until later that day. I don't know what it was, but I have vivid dreams every night since I was a kid, and 99% of them are not like this. It feels like a memory of an experience, not a distant dream. I remember every detail today, and I'm 28 now. The next was a dream where I was lucid in the dream, because I was suddenly aware of someone else watching me. I was walking through an empty playground at night when I noticed this very, very, very handsome person sitting on top of one of those metal climbing structures that are shaped like a dome. This person triggered the most visceral reaction in me, like meeting a soulmate or someone I felt deep love and familiarity with. Yet they also triggered the uncanny valley for me too. My instincts noticed that something was off. They looked too perfect to be human. I said to them telepathically, "I know what you are," to which they smirked at me with unwavering eye contact and said, "I know you do." I was both suspicious and intrigued. Next thing I know, we were at the end of a long discussion I wasn't present for, and I asked this person something I don't recall. They responded with, "Well, are you really sure you want to know the truth?" And I nodded. They said, "You will know one day, but for now, this is going to hurt." And then I'm laying on my stomach with my back exposed, and they pull out some sort of technology like you see in a sci-fi movie, but more advanced, and it had a long needle coming off of it. They gave me a spinal tap that burned so much that it woke me from my sleep, and I felt the residual ache in my spine lingering after I woke up for a few minutes. It was the same atmosphere I felt in my room in the last story too, and seemingly the same time of night too, with the moonlight coming into my window. I fell asleep with no memory of it other than subconsciously referring to that person as my cosmic husband or cosmic soulmate. And I still to this day have this deep knowing that I will see them again one day. This last one was a frightening and disorienting sleep paralysis encounter during a nap I was taking in the afternoon after school. I had barely fallen asleep when I seemingly woke up. I thought it was odd how fast my nap went as I had just laid down. Everything in my room was normal, except I noticed a lamp in the corner that wasn't there before. Then my internal alarms began going off, and I felt a wave of dread wash over me. I noticed a dark figure standing behind the lamp. I panicked, and I felt like I suddenly was in danger and something sinister was after me. I closed my eyes, thinking it was a dream, and I opened them to see this disturbing entity staring me in the face with the most unnatural smile. It looked sort of like Voldemort from Harry Potter, with the grin of the Cheshire Cat. I tried to scream and nothing came out, so I closed my eyes and felt my chest get heavier. I eventually woke myself up in a panic and sweating. I had only been asleep for less than 30 minutes, and I pretty much felt drained of all my energy and went into the family room where my mom was and crashed on the couch with no explanation. My mom told me she thought it was strange I was asleep at all, because she said she heard me moving around in my room nearby and figured I was awake. I was sleeping the whole time.